Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Wolters World, and we're at the town hall of the Rathaus here in Hamburg, Germany. And today we have for you are things you should consider when you're going to buy a travel guide, okay? Now, you can either buy an online version or you can buy the book one. I usually go with the book ones because if you have the online ones or those things, they can eat up your battery life and you can do a little more research in here, bookmark things and all kinds of stuff. But anyway, now the first thing you should consider is look at where are you going. I mean, if you're just going to stay in Paris for a week or 10 days, you don't need to get a whole Europe-wide book. Look at the places you're going to go. Am I staying in one city or one country or one region? And pick a book that's going to fit for that. So for example, if you're going to stay in Paris for a week, buy the Paris book of whichever one works for you because it'll have all the stuff in Paris you'll need and most likely day trips around there to go to Versailles or Fontainebleau or something like that, okay? Whereas if you're going to say, well, we're going to Munich and we want to visit Bavaria, well, why don't you get the Bavaria book? Because then it can have Munich and Nuremberg and Bamberg, my personal favorite place out there, and it can do that for you. Or if you're doing your backpacking through Europe one, yes, you should get like a Let's Go or a Lonely Planet Europe kind of thing. Look at these things out there and see what's going to work for you, but it really comes down to first is where are you going to go. So city specific one, then get city. If you're region, get regional. If you're getting country, get country, these kind of things. Okay, so that's the first thing to consider. Now the second thing you need to look at when you're getting a guidebook is what is your background in traveling? Are you a newbie or are you someone that's traveled a lot of times? Because that will really influence the kind of things you need. Because think about it, we travel a lot. So what am I looking for these things? Well, I don't need this is how you pack. This is how you choose destinations. That's not what I need because we've already done that for it. But other people, maybe they need, Rick Steves' Europe Through the Back Door is a great book to give you an idea of things you need to know. How do you buy train tickets? How do you book a hotel? He'll have stuff in his books. Here's the sheet, just type this in or scan it and send it. These kind of things. So looking at your background, some books are better for more novices, some are more for adventure type people or well-trained travelers. And so you want to look at those things, what's going to be important to you. Now, the third thing you're going to want to consider is what do you want out of this trip? Because a lot of the books really do cater for different markets. The Let's Go series, okay, Let's Go Europe, that should be called Let's Go Drinking. Okay, because that's really focused for a younger crowd, college students going to look for the best time in Germany or in Switzerland or in France. But if you're looking for something more, you're in the, let's say, like over 35 crowd, like myself, and you want to know, I want more culture. I want to eat at the local restaurants where the locals go. Well, then you know what? Like a Rick Steves would be good for you. Or, Fromers and Fodors, they have a lot of stuff out there when looking at specific, I want to know the art history of these pieces. There's guidebooks for that too. Now the fourth thing you might want to look at when you're looking at guidebooks is accommodations and restaurants. Some guidebooks are very heavy on accommodations and restaurants and they'll give you huge sections of it. Other ones only give you one or two. Some places give you nothing. Okay, so that's another thing you want to look at. Now, if you've already arranged all your accommodation with TripAdvisor, hey, no problem. Why waste the space in a book for that? But if you haven't and you're going to be backpacking through Europe or playing it by ear, like, oh, today's Hamburg, maybe tomorrow we'll go to Bremen, or maybe we'll go to Lüneburg, or heck, why don't we go to Prague and go a long train? If you're on the go, sometimes it's good to have a guidebook with lots of accommodation. That's why I usually go with Lonely Planet, because they have lots of accommodations and a lot of different restaurants out there, okay? So that might be something to look at. Now, the fifth thing you might want to look at is in terms of the maps inside and the sites they talk about. Because some guidebooks will have lots of sites and not say much about them. Some will have a few sites but go really in depth. And that again goes into what you want to do. If you want to, like, I want the in-depth tour of Windsor Castle, well, there's, Eyewitness Travel has really good drawings and really good pictures and diagrams in their books that can give you some good ideas. And it's good for if you want to do your own, kind of guided tour. However, if you're thinking, well, I'm in Copenhagen and they have free guided tours there, well, maybe I don't need the whole, 9 pages explanation of the Little Mermaid. Maybe I just need to know where the Little Mermaid is, okay? So I can look on the map and someone will tell me there. Okay, so the maps, and that's one of the things for me. Maps are my key thing out there because I like to know where I'm going and where I need to be. Some guidebooks are great with that. Lonely Planet is fantastic with their maps. Others, not so good with the maps, okay? Now, the next thing you want to look at, our sixth thing, is you want to look at size of the book, also the space you have. Because what's cool is you can get all these books online, you know, like an e-reader and stuff like that. Yes, it does take up a lot of your battery life, so that's why I don't use them so much. And I can't make my notes in here and things like that, or I can in a book. But the thing is, this is a nice compact book. It fits in the front part of my backpack. Doesn't get in the way. You know, there's the ones, the top 10. That's a book series out there. They have these little tiny thin books. I can put it in my back pocket. And a lot of it depends on what kind of size you want to have. Other ones will just get too big. You know, I have, you know, Discover Germany from Lonely Planet. If I had their Europe book, I mean, it's like this thick. You're like, whoa, that's a bit too much going on. So you want to look at the size and also the amount of space you have, and is it worth it? That's why I don't recommend taking 3 or 4 guidebooks. You want to take as few as possible. The seventh thing to consider when you're getting guidebooks is, hey, you know what? You can get the electronic version of them. There's lots of good apps out there that can give you maps and languages and sites. The TripAdvisor app is always very helpful, but the thing is, it eats your battery life. That's one of the things I want to talk to you about with electronic guidebooks. It can eat up your battery life, and if you're trying to do all your guiding and you find your last destination and your battery dies, how are you going to get back to your hotel? Oh, thank goodness I have a normal map here. All right, so just know that the electronic guidebooks, they are helpful and they are cool, but they might eat up your battery, so that's why I usually go with one of these, and I have this as well for my GPS and stuff, but a good combination of the two. And the 8th little piece of advice I have for you for, you know, kind of figuring out what guidebook you should use is go with what is right for you. My wife, she loves National Geographic Explorers one because it gives her a great background of the country, beautiful pictures. I mean, everything you expect from National Geographic in a guidebook. Me, I'm not the biggest fan of them while I'm abroad. Before I go, I love to read them, but while I'm there, I don't want those because they don't have the maps and stuff I want. I go with Lonely Planet because they have great maps and lots of destinations, lots of sites, lots of restaurants and hotels, and I need that because I'm traveling so much. My mom, she loves Rick Steves because her whole thing is, when we say we're going to go travel with him, she literally straight goes to Rick Steves' restaurant section and she will give me a note. Well, Rick says we should do this, Rick said we should do that. And I'll be honest, the guy's got some good stuff. And if you're looking for guides, he's got a great guide series, so definitely check out some of his guides. They do a great job. Anyway, those are just some things I think you should consider before you buy a guidebook. If you want a review of different guides that are out there, we have another video on that going through Lonely Planet, National Geographic, Frommer's, Fodor's, all those things to see what might work best for you. Anyway, I hope you have a great time traveling, and we'll see you later. Tschüss from Hamburg, Germany.